And welcome back to another episode of Starfleet Command. Orion Pirates I'm Fleet Admiral Mirak of Heavy Battlecruiser GCS Dracora as we continue our campaign against the Klingon Star Empire. And last time, well, we finally managed to recover our sort of home forward operating base of 6-8, although it looks like the Klingons have managed to shove us away quite heavily in a lot of the other areas. However, by also taking 8-8, we now have hopefully a fairly powerful defensive influence pushing back on the enemy. Now, we are a little bit dented after being out for so very long, pretty much out of spare parts. We were out in the middle of space for what, 2, 3, 4 episodes even? It was quite a long time before we last visited a shipyard, and we got quite a bit of good work done. So now we get to stop by, resupply, get all set and ready to rock and roll, and we will set out to engage the Klingons. So let's see if we can't find a starbase, or, you know, the planet of Kronos. This is indeed Kronos. Its Empire Defense is 91, because we've attacked it a couple of times. This is, of course, the homeworld of the Klingon Star Empire, and if we manage to take it, it'll be a huge economic and security boon for us. However, actually taking it is not going to be very easy at all. So we're going to have to hopefully be able to deal with that in the best way that we know how. Let us immediately set our plasma torpedoes all to enveloping mode. I want to make sure that we are causing as much damage as possible. Also reduce our speed down to the rate in which we can actually charge all weapon systems. Also make sure that the phaser X's are fully ready to rock and roll, and then we'll increase the speed of time as we set up the rest of the ship. So the TNG mod that we have been making, right now it's purely a cosmetic mod, but we have a sort of phase 2 in mind for it. Right now the mod has been progressing quite quickly. We have a link over on the Discord, which I believe should be in the description now. I finally decided we were going to do a permanent link instead of just setting up single day links whenever I stream and stuff like that. So there should be a link to the Discord if you want to check it out. We have a list pinned in our Starfleet Command channel that is the current sort of setup for what ships have been changed to what other types of ships. Right now we've been working purely on the Federation, although eventually I will of course be working on all the other races. Some of them may not receive much change, unfortunately, mainly due to the fact that I only have so many models to work from, although I have quite a few. It turns out that models from Starfleet Command 1, 2, and 3 are all cross-compatible, so I can actually, you know, get my hands on Starfleet Command 3 mods and use the models from there. It's proven to be just a huge boon for actually getting things done, and I'm really happy that I found that out, because I've managed to download a couple of packs. One is like a TNG Gen 2 pack, another one's a Dominion War pack. Both of them have several fairly, well, a lot of really decent models. Some of them not as good as stuff I've already gotten. For example, their nebulas aren't nearly as good as the nebulas that I've managed to get my hands on already, which, by the way, are serving as our battle cruisers. But other things like the Intrepid, I had a sort of blurry Intrepid, but the one that I got off of Dominion War Mod is just gorgeous, and I'm very happy to have it. It looks beautiful, and we've decided to use it, I believe, as our new heavy or our new light cruiser. So I will be streaming that on Wednesday rather than our normal Interstellar Concordium stream. I'm sorry for the people who very much enjoy the ISC. It is a fun faction to play. Unfortunately, a couple of things. One, I really want to show off the brand new TNG mod, and the other is kind of being a bit double-dipped at the moment with plasma races. Plasma is an interesting way to play the game, but when you start flooding someone with having to play multiple plasma races in a row at the same time, it can become a little bit time-consuming, mentally taxing. That would be the word. So I do enjoy and love this game, but sometimes, well, often I like to rotate around the factions, which is why we have different seasons every single time. It gives me a chance to sort of reset and come back at things with new eyes. And the IC campaign has been a little bit, well, I can't say that it's been bad, because it hasn't. We've been doing a pretty good job. But it does sort of wear on one, because you're sitting there for 3 turns every time you want to actually do anything. I do enjoy Plasma, but it's not my preferred way to play, even though I do think Plasma is probably the most powerful way to play if you are not not playing against other human players. So yeah, Wednesday's stream will be sort of previewing and showing off a Federation campaign using the brand new ships. I have most of the Federation line done. Not all of it, and I don't anticipate all of it will be done, but most of the primary important ships should be completed by the time that this stream is actually ready to go. And I've just realized that I am wasting a ton of time, aren't I, by doing this? Yeah, because we need to wait for the phase capacitor charge, and that'll give me the spare power that I need, and to leap on forward to get on them and kill them before they can do anything. That's the most important thing. But yeah, we should have a good set of most of the ships, still sort of working and tweaking on a couple of them. I have gone back and forth. I know specifically on the light dreadnought, just 4 or 5 different ships have cycled through that because I haven't been quite happy with what's going on. And I will be looking for your guys' feedback on that if you want to give it. So when you see a ship, whether or not you think it fits the role. We are working with a couple of older era ships. For example, the Federation frigate, the standard FF that you start with. We're using an Akiazi, and we're using an improved, like an updated model version of the Okinawa class for the police cruisers, because I know that some people very much enjoy that ship, and I wanted to figure out a way to put it in, and it made perfect sense to slot it in as police vessels, because it's small and it's old, and it seems to be perfectly designed in order to sort of fill that role. Alright, so we are now boring down on the ISC at this moment. They have no idea what is about to hit them, although my plasma torpedoes will not quite be ready. Actually, they will be ready entirely. Give them an R, prepare for follow-up with the phasers, and that should kill it. It did. Lovely. On to the next one. Did I not fire the R-type plasma torpedo? Apparently I did not. What? I am very much confused, because apparently I did not actually fire the plasma torpedo. Because I know for a fact I don't got 2 of them, so let's see what happens here. It did hit, I saw the 97 damage. Interesting things are going on. Yeah, so at the moment... Wow, I do not know why we're getting all this extra plasma torpedo. Anyway. Oh, that's probably what that glitch is. Every so often we run into a ship which sort of double taps with plasma torpedoes, and maybe that's what's ended up happening here. That would be a very interesting thing to find out. Get a pair of S's on him, that'll take care of him. Oh, the enveloping plasma torpedo, especially on this heavy bombardment cruiser. It's just lovely and wonderful in every single way. I do like this ship. I hate the ship model. I like the ship. So that is one of the things I will be looking through to sort of fix the Gorn as well. Now, the Federation probably, and kind of the Klingons, but mostly the Federation, they're the hardest faction, I think, to fix for this mod, because a lot of people like making Federation fanships, and they like putting their 3D models up, and they put them into the game. There are literally hundreds of them, and so the Orion Pirates Plus mod has just a ridiculous amount of variety for all of the ships. A lot of them we don't even often see, just because there are so many ships with different hull designs, which some people view as a negative, and I view as something that is amazing, although it does mean a heck of a lot more work for me. For example, there's an entire line of dreadnoughts that I didn't even know existed for the Federation, and we've been playing this mod for 2 years. Like, the medium dreadnought line I did not even realize was a thing, and actually has a really badass looking model. I like it a lot. Unfortunately, I've just never seen it before and didn't even realize it existed. HMS Inexorable is our escort today. He's packing 4 fusion cannons, backing that up with 6 phaser X's and a pair of Gatlings, so not exactly on our level. Make sure that our phasers are set to overload, and then of course we want to prepare the tractor beam so that we can grab onto him and annihilate him in one shot. We can basically annihilate almost any ship that we want to in one overrun. I can't quite say one shot, because we weren't quite able to do that to a C8 Dreadnought. Although, we have been able to one-shot battleships before. That was with the Hydrons, but still, it was a rather impressive display. How much power do I have? Oh, I have loads. I have not been keeping up on this at all, so it looks like our little buddy's going to get shot at probably a lot more than he otherwise would need to get ourselves fully up to speed, so we can basically just hop on top of him and annihilate him. Now, this honestly is not the fastest way of playing this mission. If we were to just immediately go for the listening post, that would work out a lot quicker. Oh, unfortunately we lost a fighter's weapon, because the mission would end immediately. Once we kill this guy, we are going to then have to leave the map. Makes things take a little bit longer, but it does give us a little bit of bonus prestige. And you're gone. Lovely. He could have actually damaged us. I mean, if he had concentrated a little bit more fire. No, he pretty much did concentrate everything he had. We can set it to Gren Alert and just zip on up here. There's nothing left anymore to actually fight, so we may as well just use all our power for speed and the like, although that does give us a lot of power just for chilling out and doing whatever we want. So reading the data, we'll get the data. Thank you for the data. And then we'll just head off the map, which should be... There it is. The edge of the map, a little bit further than I otherwise would like, but we will make it to it. So yeah, once the Federation's done, then I'll probably work on the Klingons, because I sort of anticipate playing a Federation versus Klingon campaign, although we could go Federation Romulan. Really, whichever faction we decide to fight on Wednesday's campaign will sort of determine which next faction that I kind of work on for all the changes. Romulans, Federation, and Klingons are both the most represented in the mod pack, for sure, in terms of just having individual different types of models to work with, which makes perfect sense. There's 3 most popular factions, and several of the other factions don't even exist in certain other properties, so trying to get people excited about, say, the Mirak or the Lyrans, they'll look at you and say, what? Well, maybe not so much the Mirak. After all, the Mirak were in the animated series. They were crazy, but they were there. But I don't think the Hydrons were. So actually, honestly, if I think about it, I don't think I have any Hydron ships, so we may have to either just make do with what we've got, or take certain liberties with what we want to do. For example, turning the Hydron into, say, the Dominion, because I've got Breen and Dominion ships. Granted, most of my Breen battlecruisers are not very good looking. If I'm completely honest, they're rather ugly. But I have found that stuff that looks bad in my model viewer doesn't necessarily look bad in-game. Just sort of the way that it functions in your sort of the way you're looking at the map. Alright, we have a single heavy cruiser off in the distance according to the fleet screen. She is a D7EX, so a D7 escort. That would be a little bit of an odd thing to make a D7 out of. And he has an XDG, so a guided light cruiser. It is, of course, an X-type destroyer, which is not fun. I'd like to kill him first. Really, it's my choice as to who gets to die first. So there is that working for us. Who am I going to be engaged with first? You know what? It's going to be the XDG, because the XDG appears to be just... Oh no, they're both ripping along max. I will take this guy out first. He has a lot of potential to harm me in many, many ways, but we also have the potential of just eliminating him from being an issue at all in very, very short order. Also, because I do anticipate a single barrage will completely take him down. Now, I could try and go for just a whole... I could try and go for using pseudoplasma torpedoes to sort of pin him down, but I'm not going to bother with that. He's going to open fire with all of the missiles. It's going to be painful. Or at least he should be. He should have opened fire a lot earlier than that, because he's not quite dead. I don't think I overloaded my phase. I did not. So I'm just going to hold on to him for a little bit while, a little longer. Okay, he broke free. That is fine. As we pass through, I'd like to get my Gatling phases, which only shoot very, very narrowly to the back onto him. And he got his Gatling phasers involved as well, which just kind of demonstrates how deadly Gatling phasers are. When we move on to Phase 2 of the TNG mod, the Gatling phasers are going to be sort of the template with which we will use for pulse phasers, because they are incredibly powerful, but really only in close. Alright, so he is surprising. Yeah, this is definitely an escort ship. Very undergunned for what I would expect. He's got 4 disruptors, a single missile launcher, 3 phaser 3s, and then everything else is phaser, or 3 phaser X's, and then everything else is phaser 3s. It's really a very sad ship, actually. Oh, I feel sorry for you, sir. But you're going to die. I'm not sure if you've realized that yet, but you've already lost. You really just do not have a sufficient amount of firepower to really deal with the sort of damages that I can dish out in very short order. Just shut off the frac room. We don't need it. Oh, he's being aggressive. He wants to spin around as fast as he can, try and get a good angle. Unfortunately, it's not quite working out for him, and we're just able to basically beat him into submission. His shields are actually being very efficient. They're holding off a lot of damage. Ooh, we lost a screen. That's not good. Gatling phasers just sort of stripping through and ripping off most of the things. He's down to just his forward shield, and he's not even that bow onto us anymore. The plasma torpedo? Enjoy. So a nice little send-off for him. So we'll take this tile and then the next tile next to it, which should be a starbase. That, as long as we don't destroy the starbase, should help re-solidify our line. And then we can start putting a little bit more pressure on Konos. Once we take Konos, that'll be the big catalyst for pushing forward. Although that might actually be a reason why we may not want to fight the Klingons in the stream, because we're already fighting Klingons. Oh, they've weakened the flower, but I'm going to go for the starbase here. The problem is that it borders Konos. That makes it very difficult to actually hold. So give me the patrol so we can actually steal the starbase. We need as much help as we can get. And if I can get an envelopment around Konos, that would be very helpful. So we'll probably start maneuvering for that relatively soon. So all weapons shall overload. That way we can be fully prepared for everything. And we'll trundle along nice and slow. This will give us a chance to set everything up. Yes, I know I can go 1 point of speed faster, but that 1 point of speed is, of course, reserved for the tractor beam, which won't turn on until I actually have my initial target. It gets a little confused. Pop up there, just to make sure that it still works. It does. Lovely. All right, how much time until we're ready to go? Oh, we're ready to go. Let's rock and roll. Seal from the shield budget so we can drive a little bit faster. According to the fleet screen, we're dealing with a DWD-XM. So this is indeed a DWD, which is a D5 with a third nacelle. XM, so it is the X-type refit, and the M for the MERV-type refit, which, you know, fun-ish ship, I suppose. We'll deal with it in relatively short order, like we do with just about everything. Because when you can dish out as much damage as we can in a single salvo, there's not a whole lot of things that can actually hold against you. Yeah. he's not quite equipped to handle us. Really, very, very few ships are. The heavy bombardment cruiser is probably... Yeah, it's probably the best plasma ship in the game. Not this one. The Romulan one. If the Romulan one has the same armament, it'll probably be the best plasma ship in the game. Although, there are arguments you can make for other things. Alright, let's go head over here so that we can recontrol the flower, because I do not want them flipping my planet. We have worked very long and hard to hold this planet, and I don't want it going away. So we'll be able to just hopefully hold the line, and then we're going to pressure Kronos all that we can. All systems, overload. I don't know why I keep going to the plasma torpedoes only. I need to overload my normal phaser X's anyway. So, important that we keep on that. And, oh, a little bit too fast. Can't quite go that fast. Increase the speed time. We'll be able to take care of them hopefully soon. Super battleships actually would not quite be outside of our range of things to deal with, actually. I would say we would have a better than even chance of killing them. So, another DWDXM. That's not even fair to him. I mean, come on, game. Be nice. There's no sense in just being cruel to yourself. Although, sometimes, maybe this is just revenge / catharsis for all of the times when we just got mobbed by gigantic cruisers of death. We get to have some of our own back. Tractor's 2-point defense will slow down a little bit more, so we have some defense, and I'll slow down the speed of time so we can actually handle the missile intercept solution. IKV Fencer is our target, and IKV Fencer is about to explode. Taken care of. Without even so much as a second look. They've got a... Oh, wait, there's another battle cruiser out there. I did not even realize you were a thing. So we'll shut off our tractor beam like so, and we'll just trundle along. Buddy, you saw just how fast I annihilated that guy, right? So why do you think you're going to be any different? We got 25 points of power on the forward shield, but the real thing that's causing me to just sort of go as slowly as I can... I have a lot of power that I've got or a lot of recharge time that I need to wait for. We kind of have one target that we can annihilate immediately, and then we better figure something out. But it looks like we're about to have all systems back. Lovely. Turn on the tractor beam. That way, once we get within range, we can eliminate him as well. He's got a quad launching missile, but we have enough defense in order to handle that without too much trouble. Oh, he's trying to be aggressive with those C-Racks. The Mistress of Pain. I don't think it was quite up to the challenge. Torn asunder. The number of ships that we go through is rather ridiculous when you stop to think about it. Although we have actually gone through probably the most number of ships in this campaign. I do think we actually have lost more ships in this campaign than we did in all of Season 1, which was one of the roughest campaigns we ever had to do. Alright, let's go say hi to Kronos. We're going to see if we can't surround it and delete some of its influence. Make sure... Of course you did. We'll have to pop out there and just continually go all over the place. Homeworld Assault. So now we're really going to get ourselves stuck in it. So Kronos will now be under our plasma bombardment, red alert, and overload all weapon systems. Get ourselves up to cruising speed so we can actually engage the enemy. And wait for it, wait for it, wait for it. There we go, perfect. And all additional power shall go into the forward shield. Just a little bit of a point defense out there. We're being escorted today by HMS Perseverance, which it's 4 Hellbores and 9 Phaser X's, not terrible, and the IRX, the HMS Resolution, which is the exact same thing. So basically we bought the bombardment group. It is a PLPH for the planet itself, so that'll be a little bit difficult to take. One salvo should ought to do it though. And for the enemy vessel, we're looking at XCF. So a fast heavy cruiser. Well, a fast X-type heavy cruiser. The fast X's can be pretty good. I mean, they're not horrifically bad. And you are the C8X, the Quake. So we're going to have to get our rocket jump and getting ready back on that. So, I believe, yeah, the XCF that we're using for the TNG mod that we will be previewing on Wednesday is the Prometheus. I had 3 ships that I had to find for. I went for the heavy... I think I've mentioned this before, but I'm going to mention it again because I'm really kind of thrilled at how well it came off. So the XCF is the Prometheus. The XCB, the heavy bombardment cruiser, we've made the Eximius, which is a very cool ship and also was the ship of a close friend of mine when he played Bridge Commander, and so I figured it'd be a nice little tribute to him as well. And then, of course, the XCA is currently an Akira, but if I'm completely honest, I'm not quite sold on that. It just seems like the Akira should be a little bit more common, I suppose. I don't know. I haven't made a final decision, and what in the hell just happened there? How did you avoid all of my ability to do anything? Just die, please, in a fire of epic proportions. I don't know how you did what you did, but somehow you managed to ignore my tractor beam for well longer than you should have, and I've taken way more damage than we otherwise should have. Luckily for us, we had him basically caught in between. Now here comes the problem though, because now I've got a Dreadnought to take care of, and I've taken way more damage than I was otherwise anticipating. So while I was gushing over the fact that we have brand new X-Type heavy cruisers for the TNG mod, I clearly let me down in this, and so now we've taken quite a bit of damage. We've lost our fore and aft shields, which is unfortunate on several levels. We're just going to quarter this a little bit, let them get involved. He does have a fairly robust point defense system, and so we will have to be aware of that. Although, if he just continues to drive at me with single-minded determination, as if I were a Vindicator, then he will probably have a really bad time. We need that back. He's got too many missiles to have a single launcher. So we're gonna... Oh, good. He allowed us to actually make the turn. We'll have a decent number of our plasma torpedoes ready to go, but not all of them. So we're gonna still just sort of sit on the edge of the fight, let those two duke it out, and then when we come in, we'll come in with the big hammer that is our plasma torpedoes. Prepare the tractor beam and start to slow way down. I can't afford to go too quickly on this one because I need to have some sort of forward point defense. Make sure that the tractor beam is actually charging, and we do have enough, range for this, but the problem will be that he will end up utilizing a Wild Weasel shuttle, and that will waste the fire. Alright, he's got to try and cut the turn off nice and tight. Oh, he stayed just outside of tractor beam range, you jerk. Get back here. Get back here. And there we go, you're dead. Just had to wait for the opportunity. We probably could have just baited out the Wild Weasel and just sort of dealt with it, but I didn't want to. So now we're just going to charge up our plasma torpedoes, throw ourselves at the planet, and annihilate it. It's going to be relatively quick, because we have just stupid amounts of damage. I think we calculated it out to 73 damage per side of the shield. Yeah, it's not going to be pretty for them. I'll actually be interested to see how much damage I really actually do to the planet itself. I will steal from my shield budget a little bit more. Just get a little bit faster going. And our plasma torpedoes are fully charged. So now we've got that going for us. Yeah, we'll be super aggressive. We'll just run on in. We're going to slow down, of course. That would be suicidal not to. But that's the plan. We'll just sprint on in there and then basically stop and fire everything and turn the planet into a molten ball of sludge. Because we have that much plasma and it's going to be beautiful. So a couple of good hits from the Hellbores. Not actually really doing too much to it right now because his shields are fine. Now is the time we start to slow down. Make sure that we can actually defend ourselves. And we need a lot of power in order to do that, because he's got a lot of point defense systems. So get me to a range of 15 so I can engage with fairly powerful shots. And engage. There go our plasma torpedoes, and he cannot launch any sort of defensive systems. 104 damage, which really tells you just how little damage we were actually ended up doing. Alright, park. So 28.1 points of power into the forward shield. Hopefully that'll be sufficient to actually hold him, as these two just sort of do donuts. I'm surprised he's not blasting, but maybe he's getting a little confused as to who's the most important target at the moment. Holy shoot! Maybe I shouldn't have been talking trash about the planet, because he just cut right through my forward shield. See if I can't set up the forward port shield before he opens fire on me again and guts me. Plasma torpedoes. Starboard side plasma torpedoes were unable to engage, but if I do enough damage here, I can make it work. Go over back to the forward shield, please, before it is knocked out. Get a couple more plasma torpedoes on the way. Forward shields are once again back up. So today has been an interesting battle, where they have managed to cause pain to a lot of systems. He's got 2 Phaser 4s left, and he's attempting to repair a couple of more. So, we actually don't need to get any closer. I mean, we're perfectly fine where we are, because our plasma torpedoes will hit basically full damage. So this is fine. 316 damage, just with missing 2 of our plasma torpedoes. It's lovely. Let's throw in another 80 damage at him. Now, of course... Oh, no, I was about to say, of course, he's got an attack shift, which is reducing the effectiveness of our weapons, but he doesn't anymore. So, we've got that working for us. Let's go for the capture. As soon as we get within range, 5.99 is, of course, the magic number for tractor beams. So, prepare to go. 3, 2, 1. Send in the Marines. And we will provide them with some molten orbital bombardment. There we go. And wait for the Marines to finish conquering the planet. So this is apparently Kronos. I was under the impression it was a little bit more rust red, but I suppose purple is in for the season. And we should have it relatively shortly as our Marines have finished taking off the enemy armies and should finish... Whoops. Okay, well, yeah, we're gonna say that was not us. It was clearly one of the Hydrons with their plasma torpedoes. Anyway, That's a successful assault, which will reduce the Empire defense, although if you've got to reduce it quite a bit before we actually take it. But we have them on the run now. Anyway, that's going to do it for today's episode. I've been Tarek. If you like what you've been seeing, hit that like button and subscribe. If you want to see a notification every time I post one of these videos, press the little bell icon, leave a comment. I will see you all in the next episode.